This is the most popular camera lens in history, and it only costs $100. Kind of like this new studio setup. So we're talking about this guy. This is the Helios 44 to 58 millimeters. This is the most mass-produced lens in history. It is pretty much a knockoff the Zeiss 58 millimeter, which is the same lens but costs about 100 times more or something like that. So this was famous because pretty much they copied it and it was much cheaper, but it was still a pretty good quality and it had so many different mounts that you can fit it onto any cameras pretty much. But we're not here to talk about all of this technical stuff. We're here to talk about how this lens actually changed me as a filmmaker. Before getting this lens, I actually barely filmed with manual lenses, and now I am a huge fan of this and hopefully getting more manual lenses soon. And the reason is because when you have a manual lens focus, yes, you have to learn how to manual focus obviously, but it's just so much better. And even with my 24-70 from Sigma right now, I just switch to manual focus and kind of just shoot in manual focus just because it looks better. You don't have that weird like autofocus jitter a lot of the time, so I actually do shoot in manual focus a lot right now. So thanks to this lens, I'm shooting a lot more manual focus right now. And aside from that, I love the look of this lens. This is so dreamy. It's probably what I like most about this lens. It's just the imperfect look. All of the bokeh, all of the image, it just doesn't look sharp at all. It just looks nice and cinematic. And that's what I like about vintage lenses. They just make your image look more cinematic. We talked about this before, but in video, you don't want your image to be crazy sharp like a photo. You just want it to be sharp enough so that it looks in focus, but not perfectly sharp. So this, bit of an ASMR right now. So yeah, this can definitely help you with that. If you want to talk about the colors, since most of the glass you put in front of your camera will also affect the colors. Some lenses are more green or magenta, or some lenses are more red or whatever. This lens actually, I think it has a tiny bit of a, in my opinion, a tiny bit of like a magenta look, but it's more like a reddish magenta, so it's very easy to use. I haven't struggled to color grade footage from this lens at all. And the most famous thing about this lens, it's probably the way the bokeh looks. This swirly bokeh kind of around the edges, it just goes like, it almost looks anamorphic, which is actually what I love about it. And it's just a very interesting look. It's not something that I would use for most of my projects, but for passion projects and for specific shots, it is very, very interesting to use just because it gives exactly that anamorphic bokeh look, and just the way whenever you focus on something, anything else looks, it's just very cinematic in my point of view. So that's probably why this lens actually got famous in the first place. It's that it's a very unique look. The actual build of the lens is actually pretty amazing to me because it is so freaking light, and it's pretty much, this is all the lens. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if you can see, but the lens, it's pretty much from here to here. This is ND filters and this is the adapter. So the actual lens, it's tiny and it feels very good to carry around. It's not like extra weight or anything. The only downside is that it's because it's such a tiny lens, you need a bunch of step-up filters to fit your ND filters or mist filter or whatever you're putting in front of your glass. And then depending on what camera you're using, this is a EOS 2 Nex, so it's like a Canon EOS mount, and I had to get an adapter to keep doing that. Had to get an adapter to fit it to my Sony a7S III. So getting at the actual point of this video, why did this lens change me as a filmmaker? I would say it just pushed me to try something new. Most of my videos I shoot on a 24-70. I don't really have many lenses. I don't really want to use many other lenses, but this, I think it will travel with me pretty much everywhere I go, just for this unique look and this unique characteristic that I can get out of this tiny little guy. So if you are looking for something to inspire you to create something different, or just a different lens to have a different look, this is literally $100. I guess it depends where you live, but I paid $100 for this one, and it's in mint conditions. I don't know if all of them are the same, but the focus rig is a bit hard. I don't know if I can change that somehow, but literally aside from that, this thing looks stunning. The aperture is so satisfying. Let's see. You probably can hear that very well. ASMR. That's very nice. I think that's all for this video. If you are looking for a vintage lens to help you doing what you're doing better, your filmmaking, definitely check this out, and see you guys in the next video. Bit of a lens flare. Oh!